Hey, everybody. Welcome to the fastest growing podcast among podcasts here in the morning at KARE 11. We're talking about Off-Air with Jason and Alicia. It's true. Look it up. You can't dispute that fact. It's very true. It
is the fastest growing podcast of KARE 11 morning shows.
I'm Jason Hackett. This is Alicia Lewis. Welcome in. We have made it to the weekend. We're very excited about that. Ready to go. Ready to enjoy it.
Friday is my favorite day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
Thursday.
Why is it Thursday? That's an interesting choice.
Because of the anticipation of knowing that the following day is Friday, and there's just something about it where everybody just feels loose. It's like there are 3 days of misery. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like, oh my God, can we just finally get to the end of the week? And then you get to Thursday and you're over that hump and you know Friday's coming. And there's just something about it that's just so loose. I love it.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Loose Thursdays. Okay, that...
Hold on. Give me a second.
Let's just take a... Okay, we'll talk about your drug another time.
A lot of people are like, what is that? A weapon? What is this?
It is a weapon.
It is. Be careful, everyone.
It's his water jug.
Take you out. Yeah.
He had a more tame one 3 years ago. It broke.
And then you mocked it, and I just made him bigger.
And then every time it comes back big.
This one has a strap and everything. Look at that.
Wow. It's your water purse. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Fridays, which is new on the pod, we like to answer viewer questions. And we've been getting a ton of great ones, even just this morning. So thanks to everybody who commented. Mm-hmm. But I thought this one was timely because I saw on social media a lot of kids are getting out for school break, finishing school. Summer break is upon a lot of folks.
Okay.
And so the question we got from Nate Anderson, who works here.
Oh, Nate.
But other people commented, like, I want this question too. It was, what did we do as kids during summer, during school break? And I was like, interesting. That's an interesting question because we have to think back, and we both grew up in different regions.
Oh God, as if my nerd reputation isn't solid enough. So back when I was a kid, I went to summer gifted program. I was in the gifted and talented program in elementary and middle school, and so I would attend summer classes.
So wait, what does that mean? Like you were super smart?
I was super smart and took extra super smart classes, and so they would have classes during the summer and we would learn about specific things. Like one summer was all about different types of pasta, and so you would make pasta during. It was kind of fun. It was more like a summer camp than actual classes.
But it was more fun. You're not doing AP.
No, we weren't doing calculus. We were just doing some fun summer programs at the school and doing just random summer things and learning about random subjects, and it was a lot of fun. And I would do that for a good chunk of my summer. It wasn't the entire summer, but it was for about a month or so, and I loved it. We'd go there and meet up with all of my friends, and we'd learn about random things.
That's interesting because usually the kids that went to summer camp or summer school were behind.
No, yeah.
Is that what they just told you? They're it's Florida. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they're
this is the gifted class. No, we were actually in the gifted and talented program, and it wasn't anything that in terms of making up class or making up for classes or making up for grades. It was just us having
That's
fun.
Fun.
In school. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would do all summer?
That's what I would do.
What would you do? Would you watch bad television?
Oh, yeah. There would be because like I said, it wasn't the entire summer. It was, a month or so. But the rest of the summer would just be bad television, playing outside with friends, riding bikes. We weren't in the position necessarily to take trips because didn't grow up with the most money in the world, so didn't travel much. Right. So a lot of it was just finding things to do at home. Me and my brother playing with the neighborhood kids, or staying over at my cousin's house and playing N64 all night and eating bad food and watching VHS tapes, stuff like that.
That's fun. Okay, yeah. Okay. So I grew up. We didn't have air conditioning. Grew up in...
I was going to say that's crazy, but you are in the Midwest.
Isn't it? So it's funny because it would be so hot. So imagine a weekend like this weekend where it's 80s, 88 degrees, and you have windows and the sun's beaming in your house. Our house would get so hot.
Oh, my goodness.
And we used to live across the street from Martin Lake. Shout out to Martin Lake. Linwood people would be like, whoop, whoop. And my mom would have to work, so my older brother, who's 8 years older, would watch us all. And she's like, never go swimming, ever. Don't you dare, because it's dangerous. No parent guardian.
Yeah,
we're kids home. I'm sure, I don't know if it's legal to leave your children at home, so sorry, mom and dad. But my brother was I think 13 or 12 or something or whatever. And we would sneak over and go swimming in the lake all the time.
Scandal.
But it was so hot. What do you expect children to do? We hear the jet skis and boats and people splashing, and we're just like looking across the lake or across the street. Like,
I cannot imagine growing up without AC during the summer. I mean, I lived in Florida. Obviously, it's always hot down there. I mean, I guess here you get a few months of hot, but then things get cool again.
We would, on really hot days when we were tired of being outside or not swimming at the lake illegally from our parents' perspective, we would shut all the shades and get big box fans and blow the air out of the house and then cover like every little window we could. So we'd blow the heat out of the house. We'd occasionally, and then we'd just be in our swimsuits and watching like Jenny Jones and Maury and all the horrible program. I watched Passions.
No.
Breathe
How were you
breathe out.
allowed to watch that?
I wasn't allowed. Again, parental supervision was slacking.
Passions
Was like a soap opera.
That explains a lot.
What does it explain?
You know what it explains. Oh my goodness, I'm clutching my non-existent pearls right now.
You don't watch Passions? Did you watch soap operas?
I wasn't allowed to. Like,
okay,
we would watch like Price is Right and all that stuff, and then the minute the stories came on, as my mom and my aunt would call them, it's like, okay,
the stories,
get out. The Young and the Restless is on. Get out.
Oh, funny. Yeah. It does explain a lot about me, doesn't it?
It truly does.
I'm the youngest of four, so it's kind of with the older kids. I blame my siblings. I'm just kidding. I love them all. And it was great television. What can I say?
Jenny Jones, all those talk shows.
Ricky Lake.
Sally Jesse Raphael, Jerry Springer. All those
that
shows
was on
back
too
then.
late, and we weren't allowed. If my mom knew we watched Jerry Springer.
Oh, Jerry Springer was on too late?
That was on at late. But like Maury was on midday. It was like daytime programs that were talk shows.
I feel like Jerry Springer, growing up in Florida, Jerry Springer was on like in the middle of the afternoon.
Jerry Springer is Florida. Like that whole show was just like what I imagine Florida is.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
I feel bad for our Florida audience because they can watch off air anywhere.
Yeah, all two of you feel really bad, but they know exactly what you're talking about. They're like, yeah, she's right.
So yeah, we would watch bad TV, and then as I got older and more like, okay, I'm not going to watch bad programming and sit inside. Sports took over summer camps, volleyball camps, basketball camps, softball, track, working out at the gym at high school. So yeah, like kind of shifted into like growing up.
Right. So you didn't really have a summer as you got older. It was just
I kind of feel. And then jobs. My first summer job. What was your first summer job?
Those that know me well know this. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese's. So
Charles Entertainment Cheese.
If you want to say it properly, yes.
With a slight accent.
Charles Entertainment Cheese. No. So I told my mom was like, you're getting a summer job. This was in like 11th grade. I was a late bloomer when it came to summer jobs.
You were in the special gifted summer
not
program?
In high school. No, like for elementary and middle school. Once I got to high school, I had summers back. My mom was like, you're getting a job. And I was like, well, I don't want to work at McDonald's. My sister worked at McDonald's and she hated it. And I just didn't like the idea of being in a kitchen all day and making fries and dealing with that. And I wanted something different. I wanted something cool. And I grew up going to Chuck E. Cheese's as a kid.
That's good.
The epitome of cool. I knew there was one that wasn't too far from the house. And I was like, I want to go apply to Chuck E. Cheese's. And she's like, sure, go ahead. So I applied. They gave me a job as a cashier. And as a cashier, you also ran the merchandise counter. So I was responsible for getting the tickets from the kids whenever they won on prizes.
And then getting the prize
and then giving
for
the
them.
prizes, yeah. And you would have parents that would come up and try to negotiate all kinds of crazy things. It's like, I have 5 tickets. Can you please give me the PlayStation? It's for my kid. Like, they really want it. And it's like, you have to be really awkward. I'm like, no, I can't give you the PlayStation. You have 5 tickets.
How many tickets was the PlayStation?
Like 100,000 tickets. I can't give you the PlayStation. And it's just such awkward conversations as a 16, 17-year-old kid trying to talk these parents down from like smacking me in the face because they want. They would. Some of them would get really aggressive and angry and want me to call the manager, and the manager would tell them the same thing, like, you don't have enough tickets. It was Chuck E. Cheese's on a Friday and a Saturday was an absolute bloodbath.
Wow.
It was terrible because you'd have a million parties going on and just angry, stressed out parents dealing with their kids.
That was your first job?
That was my first job. The merchandise. There would be times where I'd go in the merchandise closet and cry because it was so crazy out in the front. Wow. It was just, it taught me a lot about life. It taught me a lot about wanting things that you can't have, about dealing with
That's
people.
That's what first jobs are supposed to do.
Also, I kind of, I shouldn't admit this.
It's off air. Are you going to get arrested after this?
I might, or I might get the
let's
Chuck E.
find
Cheese
out.
arrested. I would pour beer and liquor, even though you had to be like.
Oh,
18 to
you were
40.
illegally pouring for adults.
Because like sometimes it was really busy and you couldn't find a manager, and it's like usually you have to go get a manager.
You're
to pour
just like
beer and
making
liquor.
martinis.
Just shaking.
Because people order martinis at
One
Chuck E.
Oliver
Cheese.
too, sir. No.
Is that a dirty martini?
But yeah, things would get so crazy and the line would be so long, and I would just have to just pour the bear real quick. And so I learned how to
I'm
pour.
sure that people do that all the time.
Yeah. It's not that illegal, I would assume. I hope not. We'll see. But I learned how to pour a perfect beer with like minimal head on it. Like
Good for you as like
16-year-old.
14? Oh, 16. Okay.
So yeah,
Wow.
Chuck E. Cheese. What was yours?
It's funny because it's Subway. It's Subway. I was a sandwich artist.
Yes, artiste.
I loved working at Subway. I knew when I was young, I loved Subway so much. They used to have the round sandwiches then.
I remember that.
And they cut it a certain way, like with the V at the top.
Yeah.
And it just always smelled so good when you go into a Subway. And I'm like, I want to work here someday. And it was my first job. So I worked at Subway in St. Croix Falls. Shout out. And I loved it. I did illegal things too, though.
Please.
Are we going to get I'm going to get banned from Subways.
And I'm getting banned
Which
from
they
Chuck E.
already
Cheese's.
know because, like, when your family comes through, I would give deals. Mm-hmm. Or, like, here's a 6-inch sub.
Because when you're there, you're family, right? That's your slogan?
No, that's the Olive Garden.
Oh, never mind.
We shouldn't
Wrong
air
place.
this off air because we both admitted to crimes.
And I botched
Yours
the
actually
slogan.
was just bad on the company. Mine
Yeah.
was bad on me. But that was my first job, and I learned like pressure things. Obviously, when there's a huge line, and I also learned don't like put a ton of mayo. You know, when you go and it's like,
Yeah, the glob of mayo. Yeah, no, just. It's exactly
do-
the sound it made, too.
and then you're watching like the customers are watching in horror, like their sandwich is getting drenched in mayonnaise.
They pick it up and
I
it's
learned
just
like
dripping.
one squirt, and then they'll be like, "Can I have more, please?" You
Yeah.
can always add more.
There you go. Under
can
promise
always
and
add
then
more.
over deliver.
Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Gosh.
It's crazy to reminisce. I still have my manager shirt. I became a manager eventually.
You became manager
I got a
of
blue
Charles Entertainment
Not
Cheese.
a manager of the entire place. A manager of like my cashier.
Weren't you the
unit.
mouse once?
I
Weren't
was
you
the
Chucky
mouse, yes.
or Charles? Sorry, it's like his alter ego.
Yep. And I had a kid that punched me once square in the entertainment
I know.
cheese. Mhm. Right in the ball pit.
Right in the ball pit. Quick question. We have like 3 seconds left. Did you guys clean the ball pits?
And that's enough time. We run out of time here on.
We already
Off-air.
are. The police are here. The Florida police, and
Woo,
the St. Croix Falls
woo,
police.
woo. Just take me away. I admit to all of it. I did it, sir. We'll see you.